Hey, how's it going? My name is Cory Miller, and on today's one-off episode, I'm going to show you my minimalist-ish bullet journal for 2018, why I got started, and some of the ways that I have it set up. I also want to give a big shout out to my friends Charlie and Femke. I'll make sure I put links to all of their stuff down in the description. Charlie actually just came out with her own video for her 2018 bullet journal. And they were the two that kind of pushed me over the edge to getting started with one of these things. I also had conversations with my friends Jordan and Liz. Hi. And what's interesting is I'd always kind of hesitated about doing something like this for three reasons. The first reason is that I didn't understand why anybody would put something in a physical format, like in a book, when there were so many apps that you could use to accomplish the same thing. So you could have an app for your calendar, an app for your to-do list, an app for your scheduling, whatever. It could all be synced and in the cloud and doing all this stuff. You wouldn't have to worry about, oh, did I leave it behind? I don't know what's going on. So that was kind of the first thing that set me back. The second was I'd looked into bullet journaling and I'd listened to podcasts and I read articles, and it just seemed wildly confusing and over the top, and there were all of these rules and there was these terms that I didn't understand, and they were using the terms as if I should understand, and it was just very daunting. I didn't know where to get started. I didn't know how to get started, and so that kind of turned me off. And then the third reason was I had done something like this in the past with a journal that's kind of, do I still have that? I had this book before. This is the Self Journal, and it's really nice. I'm sure it's helped a lot of people. It's got like this 13-week roadmap, and there's all these pre-assigned things that you're supposed to use, and it's all written down and ready for you to go. But it's not very flexible. It was always very rigid, and that didn't really work for me because I didn't feel like I had the freedom to kind of do what I needed to do in the way that I needed to do it. So those were the main reasons that kind of held me back. And then I watched a video by Charlie and read an article by Femke. I decided to get started. So I was down at the bookstore and I saw this really massive journal. This is a 7.5 by 10, I think, or 7.5 by 9 3/4. It's really, really big, and I forgot to put but this is my bullet journal. This is what I've been using for the past couple of weeks. And I just wanted to kind of show how I've been using it, what my setup is, because I wanted to test this out as a tool that would help me get the things done that I needed to do, would help me stay focused on what was coming on. I could do some planning, and then just try out a new method of doing things. I'd tried apps and all sorts of things before, and I just wanted to try it out, and so far I've been really enjoying it. So I know what you're here for. You want to actually look at this thing, so let's dive in and take a look at my bullet journal. Okay, so here is my bullet journal. This is a larger version of the dotted journal by Moleskine. This is like 7.5 by 9 3/4, I think. I really like the bigger size. My wife's weekly planner is obviously much smaller, and a lot of people like this form factor, but I like this bigger version because it just more space for stuff to happen. So first things first, there are a few things with bullet journaling that I kind of took principles of as I was going through, and I admittedly took a lot from Charlie. So Charlie, if you're watching this, sorry and thank you. Go check out her video. But anyways, so I took a lot from her, but I also kind of looked and took pieces of what the official bullet journal situation is supposed to be. So one of those is an index. Now, I started this. I'm not really sure if I'm going to keep doing this in the future. It's just kind of there. I know where everything is, and my bullet journal is split up into 3 sections. And so I already know where everything is going to be anyways, but the reason why they have an index is like if you're going through and you've got, hey, on page 142, I have an idea for, a website redesign or something like that, then you would go here in the index and say, hey, 142 is where I had the website redesign. I'm not doing that, so whatever. But anyway, so here's the index. And then I also have the legend here. This is where I have all of the icons that I'm going to be using throughout the book. So there's only a few right now. But you can already see that I'm in this a couple of weeks and I've already crossed out this. That's because as I'm going through this, I'm changing things. I'm kind of evaluating how it's working for me and how it's making me feel and how it's making me work. And so there are a few things in here that I may change, I may add. This is just a section here so I can know in the future why I marked it the way I did. And then I actually have the more important section here for myself is colors. So they tell you that when you're starting off in a bullet journal that you're not supposed to go on Pinterest or Instagram and look up how other people are doing theirs, because there's people who are like doing these extravagant drawings and using different pens and it's all really cool. That's not what I wanted for mine. It's just really simple. It looks kind of gross, but the main thing that I respond to is color. So I wanted to be able to, with this book, be able to flip to a page and know exactly what's going on at a glance. And I can do that best by using these colors. So I use these pen. This is just a really cheap pen from Tesco. It came with a bunch of other colors. So I was like, hey, might as well use it. So, green is sabbatical, orange is event, light blue is I'm on the worship team, yellow is nothing because I couldn't really see it. Purple/blue, like I guess it's a dark blue, is a reminder. Pink is travel, and then red is important. So that's kind of working out for me right now. I may add in the future, but yeah. Then the next part is the future log. The future log I'm probably going to rename in the future because I hate that name. It's probably going to be something like year overview or something like that. And this is just kind of a bird's eye view of what's happening throughout the month. Again, I took some inspiration from Charlie, and when I say inspiration, I totally ripped it off. And I've got the here on the right, I've got kind of a calendar date view, and then also some primary events that are happening, in that month. I started going a little more granular, and I kind of regret that. So the first half of the year, I've already got kind of sorted out, kind of at a high level, and then I'll be able to adjust as I go through the last half of the year. So this is the future log. This is just really quick, kind of looking at what's going on. I've got a theme and a focus, which I'll talk about a little bit later. For every month, I've got a theme and a focus. So after the future log, I've got a section here, a page for goals for 2018. Again, really simple. It's just a list. Fully launch vlogology, get an Irish driver's license, and make 20K from side projects. So this is just goals. These are things that I can think of at a high level. That's going to be there. I might add notes later on, so on. Then I've got a section for milestones. These are going to be events or things that happen. If I earn an amount, or if, Melody says something, or there's a big milestone in my career or in my work, I'm going to write that down here. This is more of like a memory bank. Like, this is something that happened that was really important this year. So that's that. And then a real quick section for statistics. I don't really care about subscriber counts, but it's kind of just something to actively track, just to have something to look at, I guess. And then I'm also going to track books read this year, so I'll put them all here. Then I've got some blank pages. I don't know why. Now we get into the month view. So this is January. I've got my theme up here with gratefulness. Tried to make it kind of look cool, and it totally doesn't. But what I do is, again, taking from Charlie, what I do is I put all the days here on the left, including the days of the week. I have a little marker underneath Sunday to indicate, this is a segment of week. Here's a week. Here's a week. And then you can see it's very, very messy. So this is because I started bullet journaling here on the 7th. And as I've gone, I've kind of added and I've kind of played around with stuff, and I've tried to figure out how to make it work. But it'll look a little clearer as we go to February. But I've got a section for notes. I've got the colors. I've got just things that are happening throughout the month. This is kind of the high level planning. And then on this page, I've got a monthly focus. This month was email, and I totally did terrible at that. But it's just kind of something that I wanted to focus on. And then each week, I've got something written down. Usually on the left, I have work stuff, and on the right, I have personal things. So this is just like, here's some things that need to happen at some point during the week. Again, very high level, very sloppy, really quick, just going through. And then there is the day level. So you can see that January 8th, I started off by having everything. It was very granular. It was like, do this, do this, do this, do this. But as I went, I realized that I started doing, there was too much. And then on January 10th, there were all of these things that I didn't do. And that was actually really demoralizing for me, because I was like, why didn't I do all this stuff? And you can see on January 11th, it just says, chill out. That was my only thing to do that day. So as it's gone on, I've decided that, with using a little bit of, changing some of the iconography and just focusing on less of what I'm supposed to do that day and having less that I'm supposed to do that day actually makes me feel like I've got a little bit more freedom during my day of things that I need to do. So like if I look at this and I go, I didn't call the DMV today, I'm going to move it to tomorrow. Took out the bins. did not write vlogology email. So I'm looking at all this stuff I need to create. I created this, that was good, check that off. So I can just really quickly look back, start at the beginning of my day and then at the end of my day. This is all really, really quick. I don't want it to take a lot of time. And then February, you can see a little bit better kind of what's going on with the colors. So every time there is something happening, like, Kay's parents leave, or she's doing the treehouse, or she's traveling to Cologne, whatever it is, I have these blocks that are colored in so I can really, really quickly flip to the page and see what's going on that day, during that month actually. I've got this little habit tracker right here, read at least one chapter. I'm going to make a little X, making sure that I'm reading throughout this month. My theme is curiosity and my monthly focus is reading. So, that's kind of how it looks, how it's going about. Sometimes I sit down for, a night at a time and I add some more. I've been manually numbering all of the pages, which is kind of a pain in the butt. But the other thing that I'm doing is I have the whole book split up into 3 segments. So the first segment is kind of these preparatory pages with the index and the future log and the milestones and everything like that. That's segment number 1. And then segment number 2 are the months. So I've actually got a pre-planned amount of pages that's going to be dedicated to months. So I'll do January, and then after a certain amount of pages, I've put February and then March. And the way that I'm doing that is I'll do March 1 page, I'll do the weeks 1 page, and then I'll give pages for, imagine I have 5 days on each. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and give or take, and then there's the next month. So really, really quick. This way I can go immediately to June when Christiana says, hey, we've got a thing on the 11th. I can say, cool, I'll go ahead and write that in on June 11th. And, some people work through from front to back and they add stuff. That wasn't gonna work for me, so I wanted to do it that way. And then on page 105, this is the page for everything else. Not the page, this is the segment for everything else. So after this, if I have, website redesign idea, put all that there. Or if I'm like, here's a poem I want to write, I'm like, I can put all that there. This is just for everything else. This is for notes, this is for drawings, this is for whatever it's going to take. Apart from the planning side of things, that's this final segment here. I even have a little quick notes section here at the back of like, hey, this notebook has 38 columns and 50 rows, and just so that I know how many dots there are. So that is a really, really quick bird's eye view of how I've got my bullet journal set up. It doesn't take a lot of time every day. There is some setup, but that's part of the charm of it. I can have each month set up the way that I want it. I can have each segment set up the way that I want it and make it look the way that I want it to. So within all of that, it is really minimal. It's just like, you don't need all the colors if that's not going to be helpful for you. But for me, it's all about speed. It's all about, being able to just glance. So yeah, that's my bullet journal. That's kind of how I have it set up. And, it's been really fun so far. It's been, once I get to the part where I'm just kind of doing it daily, it's really fast. It allows me to manage my time really well. I'm using it in tandem with Google Calendar because sometimes it's just faster to just type it in and then add it into my journal later. But it's been good. I've really enjoyed kind of the analog side of things, and I'm going to do this probably for this year, see how it looks, see how it feels, see how it helps. And, yeah, so there you go. So that is a quick overview of how I'm using my bullet journal. So that's a quick overview of how I'm using my bullet journal for 2018. I'm probably going to create a recap video later on in the year, maybe halfway through, and then at the end, kind of figuring out different aspects of it, how I've been using it, if it's helped, how it's not been helpful, things that have changed. I'm really looking forward to it though. This has been really fun. I've really enjoyed this. So hope this has been helpful for you. If you are thinking about getting started with something like this, thinking about going analog, my biggest recommendation is to find a framework that works for you and figure out how to make it work to your strengths and to how your mind works, instead of trying to fit it into what everyone else is doing. Like, pick and choose different aspects of how people do theirs and just get started. It's been really enjoyable. I'm really looking forward to more of this. So that's going to do it for this video. So thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one.